Boom, here we are. We're live for the launch of the Thunder from Down Under podcast for 2023. Goodbye 2022. We got the new year. We're ready to go. Had a couple of months off at the last year, so we haven't seen each other for a couple of months. So thanks for joining us. Now, I've got a special guest to start us off today. But first, I just want to thank our station sponsor, which is Dream Big Digital, which is Patrick Yepes out there, and Buying Houses Direct. Okay, so they make this possible. Guys, we've got a new year. It's time to rock and roll. The market's shifting, and it's time to get people in each week. So if you're not a part of the family, go to the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you get notified, because we've got special guests lined up to come in this year. It's going to be a fast-paced year. There's going to be plenty happening. So come and join us. And also a couple of shout-outs to a couple of Australian fans out there. We've got Brett from Baronia, and we've also got Right Turn Clive, who watch the show. Even though it's US real estate, they watch the show, and they're big fans. And, I'm probably going to put a restraining order on them soon. But they're great fans. But anyway, that's enough mucking around. Great to be back, guys. Great to have you guys gearing up for another year of real estate in US, the best marketplace in the world by far. And my special guest today can attest to that. We were talking yesterday, and he loves the US market, and he eats and sleeps it. He'll tell us his story. He's got a great story when he comes in. It's a fantastic story, and he's like me. He loves the United States. So his name is Tony Opie. Welcome to the podcast, Tony.
Thank you, Graham. How are you?
I'm great, mate. Great talking to you yesterday. You got a great story, and I think the viewers and the audience will love to hear it and hear your passion. Now we've brought Tony, and Tony is one of these people that's just come across a niche market. He's actually in life insurance, and people say, why would I be watching about life insurance on a real estate show? Well, this is what Tony's going to tell you today, and you've got to listen, because these are some of the things that are starting to evolve now in the modern market, where you can actually make money and save money through all the things related to real estate. Now, Tony works with real estate investors with life insurance policies, and he will tell you all the benefits and why you've got to go out and you've got to look at this sort of stuff now. We've had a few other people with trusts and other stuff in the show to show you how to, to save money with tax and minimize tax. Tony's the man. So, all right, Tony, what I want to ask you first off, we'll get into the nitty gritty in a minute, but I want to just talk about your backstory. And you're saying yesterday you weren't born in the United States, you immigrated out there to the States. You're in California at the moment, and your business is in, I think, 9 or 10 other states, registered in other states, and you can service other states upon that. But tell us your backstory. Tell us where it all begun and how you sort of got to where you are now.
Yes. Well, my story, it starts in 1983, but we're not going to get that far. So my family and I, we moved to the U.S. here in California in '98, about 26 years ago. And as immigrants, a lot of our goals is to come to the United States for the American dream. So land of the opportunity. There's plenty of opportunities over here. You come here, you're supposed to, go through the, I call it the traditional route of, you go to school, you do all the right things, right? You go to school, get a career, get a job, and work for the rest of your life, and then be able to retire. So as I grew up, here coming to this country, I just noticed that not many immigrants tend to have that American dream that they want. You know what I mean? So just because of the way the economy is going, the events in the world that is happening, it kind of prevents us from just going through that traditional route. A lot of companies nowadays, they don't even require a college degree, and I feel like it's more of like if you can create results, then the company is going to want to hire you. So I started seeing that there's a lot of events that's happening in the world that would people are just worried. We came here for an opportunity. So I was attending school for art, and I wanted to get into Disney, Pixar, because that was like the hot thing back then. And I went to school for a really long time, but I've always been curious about money. I've always, I always had a bug about like how retirement plans work, how different accounts work, but there was no really formal or informal education that I could go. I even took finance class, economics class, and as an art student, all that stuff went over my head, right? It was a lot of the education was mostly designed towards how to put numbers together for a company. They were teaching us on how to become employees, and so just me going to school, having I worked as a security guard while going to school. It allowed me to do my homework at work. And one of my coworkers was like, "Hey, you know what? This gentleman, a friend of mine, wants to teach us about retirement, 401ks, how they work, and he's gonna have an appointment with me." And I was like, you know what? I'm curious. I want to learn. This is information I've been looking for, especially with what happened in 2008, 2001. So I've seen these events happen in the world and how it's affected our parents' retirement. So I just wanted to learn, just because I just want to be in the know, to be able to know this information.
Yeah, and so you come across from Kenya and come across. Did you starting? Have you always been in California? Did you
Yes,
come? Yeah,
I've always been in California this whole time. My parents, right before the bubble happened in 2008, they purchased a home in Texas,
yep,
so they ended up moving to Texas. I liked it here in California because obviously the weather. Well, the weather hasn't been so nice lately, but the weather is good. I like the diversity of cultures in California, so it makes it easier to interact with different people because there's a common understanding. There's diversity. There's a lot of immigrants from all walks of life here in California. So and it was kind of like home. So I did try out Texas for 6 months. It was kind of like not as same as California, so I ended up moving back, and yeah, I've been here in California ever since.
yeah, cool. Would have been a little bit of a culture shock from Kenya to California, wouldn't it? A lot different, you know, from what you'd experienced as a kid over in Kenya. So yeah, but once again, if you hit California, because California's a very diverse place and there's a lot of stuff going on, so it's probably the best place to land.
Mhm.
Like you said, but no, that's good. That's good to know your history and everything. And like you said, America's been very similar to Australia's been built on immigration and giving people a chance to have a go and start from scratch and work up. So that's obviously a passion of yours, and you want to that's important for people that are immigrants, that you want them to be able to do well. And you mentioned that, like, what happens with like, we'll talk about how you've niched down into the real estate market, but people in general don't think about their future, do they? They're just working for today, and too many times people get to retirement age and they can't afford to retire, and it's a bit of a shame because they haven't done any planning. So this is what you're going to be talking about today. Now, the other thing too, Tony, I wanted to talk about with that is we've got an aging population in the Western civilizations. We've got all the old baby boomers that were born after the World War II. They're all getting old now. So there's a lot of people that really are struggling and they haven't got the funds, and with a bit of tough stuff coming in the market, it's not a good position. So what you're saying is we've got to stop this trend and we've got to move forward with a bit more planning. So I appreciate you coming in and sharing all this with us. Firstly, we'll talk about I'll ask you a question first off about just an overview of that type of thing. Like, I mentioned at the start that you're in life insurance. It's related. All the stuff you do is related to real estate investors. That's your niche. You work with real estate investors. Um, Give us a bit of an overview, not just with the life insurance, but planning for the future. I mean, we all have to live in the now, but how you set up structures to plan for the future for your clients.
Yes, the what makes it easier for my clients to understand the concept is I kind of use I like to use analogies and stories to kind of describe how it works, just because it may seem like a foreign subject to a lot of people, just because we grow up having jobs, and then you sign the paperwork. It's supposed to give you your benefits, right? Your retirement, your insurance, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But just because of how the market is right now, that old way of doing things doesn't work really. Mathematically, economy, taxes, that doesn't work, just because those accounts are not working. Just plain math, simple math. So what I kind of like describe it as is similar to, it's almost like being healthy. If you have habits of certain types of foods that you're supposed to eat, and also doing the right exercise and dieting, that's supposed down the road you're supposed to have a healthy body, right? Same thing with our finances. When we start young, having the habits of saving money, putting it in the right vehicles, and then uh, combined with compound interest, down the future you're supposed to have a big pile of money. Now, because of the daily habits of what people have, spending money on Starbucks, or having all these subscriptions with different services, all that, little by little eat up our future money. Because as you know that compound interest is a really powerful, especially if starting super early, because you're using the advantage of time, and you gain those interests, and then in the future you can be able to have a nice size retirement. But it doesn't mean that you sacrifice your fun, right? You can still go on vacation, you can still do all the fun stuff with the family, but at the same time, set a budget aside to be able to have that future goal of
Yeah.
retirement.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. It's like your health. If you take care of your health, you last longer. If you don't, you're gonna drop. You're gonna drop quicker. So now let's get into the nitty gritty. Let's get into what you do. And like I said, it's life insurance for real estate investors. Um, I want you to break that down, because it's not just life insurance. There's so many benefits that you do. A tax-free haven. You can redraw money once it's matured. You can redraw money and use it in your business. There's so many things that you can do. So do you want to just go through maybe the five key points, and just give a little bit of an explanation of stuff that people probably wouldn't even realize is out there, that you've sort of piled together for the real estate world?
Yes. Before I share that, I want to share how I ended up helping people in the real estate niche. Um, as a life insurance agent, you can pick whichever niche market that you want to service, you want to help. And coming from different, even within the firm, there's different agents that have different backgrounds. Some come from construction, some come from the medical field, nurses and doctors, and so that ends up being their natural market of people who they want to service and want to help, because they kind of talk the same language, so they understand each other's. They can be in somebody's shoes and kind of walk them through to
Yeah.
have a good plan for them. So before COVID, my clientele was just anybody, anyone from all walks of life in the working America, different backgrounds. So, and the product I was selling, I mean, it was still life insurance, but I was selling it specifically for coverage. And the ones that had made a little bit of income, I structured it more for their retirement plan. So when I was busy working, helping these families, COVID happened. And then what happened is a lot of these people started dropping their policies, because it wasn't as important to them, and it was just the mind frame of that niche market. So I thought, you know what, because I want to make an income in my career as well by helping servicing these families, I need to find a niche market to help. So I started going after doctors and nurses. But because of COVID and how packed the hospital were, they were so mentally checked out to be able to pay attention to a presentation and I really understand how the product works. So there was a lot of flakes that would not show up in their appointments. It was frustrating for me. And then I looked further and I was like, okay, I want to be in an industry servicing a client where they're going to keep the product so I can sleep at night knowing that that person
Mm.
is covered. You know, if something was to happen to them, their family would be taken care of because of the insurance money. I want a niche market where they're a little bit savvy when it comes to money. They understand the concepts about making money, growing it, taxes. So if I talk about that subject, it would make sense to them. So I looked around and I was like, oh, real estate investor niche. So 2 years ago, I joined as many real estate groups as possible on Facebook. And then I was like, you know, I want to also use this opportunity to learn about the niche, you know, just to do my homework, right? My investigation. So I had to really learn about the clientele before I offer a service that would benefit them. So I learned about, you know, there's wholesaling, there's multifamily, there's fix and flips, there's you know, residential, commercial. So I just like I started learning about all these sub niches um, in the real estate niche. So as I started learning, I realized a lot of these individuals, they come from all these backgrounds of careers that I was helping, but they all have a common goal is whether they're like panic mode, like I got to get to retirement ASAP and I got to use real estate to you know, get me closer to that. And that was a common theme. I realized there was a lot of people that needed like a retirement vehicle. So they're using real estate as investing as a as a vehicle, right, to get them to
Yeah.
retirement. So, and one thing I realized too is these policies that I offer, they're designed to be overfunded, and they have to they're on average a bigger premium and a bigger insurance, a bigger bucket than your regular life insurance. A bigger life insurance product allows you to be able to borrow money, right? To be able to borrow money so that you can leverage it for your next deal. So if somebody is doing fix and flip, or they're doing lending, um, they can be able to use that vehicle to be able to like borrow money, invest with it, make a profit, put their loan back in there, and then take their profit, put it in there, and so it compounds and grows a lot faster for them. So, and then also another thing too, I started realizing is all these people need coverage. A lot of them don't have coverages. So if
Yeah.
anything was to happen to their business, you know, they would not. So since they are the main source of income, the breadwinner in the household, their wives, their kids would be left with nothing. So it was like a no-brainer for a lot of real estate investors. As I was explaining the vehicle, how it works specifically to their niche, it just made sense. It made
Yeah,
complete
yeah.
sense.
It really works into the mindset of a real estate investor, entrepreneurial, fast pace, trying to do things on the run. So, oh, well, I need that. Well, I need that because, you know, if you look at wholesaling, for instance, people are generating cash and that, but they're not really putting anything for down the track. So this is an opportunity to be able to do that. And like you said, once you've got a little nest egg there, you can take some money out, use it within your business, make some profit, put it back, and it's a tax haven. So it's actually serves a purpose. You know, not just for what you can do with it with real estate, but when you put it back in, it compounds. So that's amazing, isn't it? I mean, that's brilliant. And like you said, a lot of people are that busy, you know, grinding and hustling and that in wholesaling that they probably haven't got a policy in place. So they need something in case they've got to take care of their family. Or all of us, if we've got kids and all that, you've got to have some sort of policy there. So why not have one that you can use for your business and can compound? And then once it compounds, you can actually do more. And it could be an opportunity, almost like a forced savings. It's in there. You pull it out, you use it. So I mean, that's a huge benefit just there. And also, I think you mentioned, you said about sort of a tax-free haven. Also, you can claim a lot of the expenses and everything on your tax as well during the year. So that's another
Mhm.
benefit as well. So, what are the other main ones, Tony, that the investors just love? You know, they said, "Oh wow, I didn't know I could do this."
Yeah, I think especially the borrowing part is because, you know, a lot of investors are used to like borrowing money, and they're being charged you know, a certain interest rate.
Yeah,
With a policy, I mean, it's less than 1%, and you don't have to pay it back.
Yeah.
So what happens is if you were to purchase $1 million in coverage, for example, and you have, let's say, $100,000 cash in your policy, you take out 10,000, you take out 20,000 to use for your real estate. You don't have to pay it back because they're going to subtract it from the death benefit. So that's
Yeah.
one big huge feature, especially for real estate investors. And then also the process of borrowing money, because sometimes you come across deals and timing is everything, right? We understand in business, in investments, timing is everything. How quickly can you can you get that money for that down payment? Because I've come across a few people that have used they've used policies for Gator lending. They need money quickly before this deal disappears, right? It's like it's when you come across a good deal, you just want that money quickly. So it's a phone call away to take a loan from your policy. You give the company a call, and the funds will be in your bank account within 24 to 48 hours. And
Yeah.
investors love the fact that it's that quick, and they can be able to leverage it a lot faster, get that deal secured, and then once you make your profit, you can always put it back. You know what I mean? And you don't have
Yeah.
to put it back too. That's the cool part. It's like a loan. You don't have to, and that's why they have these terms, right? They call it self banking. You're borrowing money from yourself, and you don't have to pay yourself back. So that's a great feature that a lot of investors love. On top of that, I kind of go into the other features that the product has in terms of living benefit, terminal illness, chronic illness, critical illness. You can always pull money out from the death benefit to be able to cover those situations. And it's like, you don't want to come out of pocket when it comes to that. And I don't know, a lot of people know that the hospital bills here in the US are kind of crazy. So when you have a good sized policy, and you can be able to access your death benefit, your insurance, it's an awesome tool. There's a list of stuff benefits, but those are the main ones.
Yeah. Yeah. So just to recap on that, like when COVID hit, if people got sick and they had to go to hospital, that's when you can, when things get tight, when things get tough, you can access it. Maybe if you get a little bit behind with your mortgage, you can access a little bit just to catch up, and then you can, so. And the one I like, the little secret gold nugget, the thunderbolt that was in there that you threw at us was no bank you don't have to qualify for a bank, so you can go and get the money. You got it straight away. The process of trying to get hard money or private money. You got to go through a whole process, go to the bank and get a loan. It just takes forever. May get rejected. You're halfway through a deal. What am I going to do? You just cut all that out. And even for a deposit for creative finance, if you can get something on a sub two or a lease option or a seller finance, you just need a bit of a deposit. Bang, there it is. And then you can, pull it back out. Once, for instance, if you've got a tenant buyer and they put a non-refundable deposit down there, pull your money back out. Bang. So it's really handy for those short-term things as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and I've heard a saying, "Money loves speed." So if you find a deal, you want to get that money quickly. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I'm sure some people, in the audience here, have come across some really great deals. The numbers look great, but the funds wasn't there. So this tool allows you to have funds really readily available, and so you have access to it really quickly in terms of being able to secure that deal, because those deals, they're not many out there, so you got to make sure that once one comes across your desk, you're right on top of it. So that's that's
Yeah,
that's really
absolutely.
really huge.
You got to be able to pounce, don't you? You got to be able to
Yeah,
get out the gates and beat someone to the deal, and that's the difference. And yeah, look, I mean, you know, like you said, that's just one aspect. People are trying to make money in their business. They've got a few, they've got a system over here with the trusts and all that. They've got, but this just complements everything. So it means if you've got this in place and it's doing something instead of just being a dead policy there, you're making money on all fronts, and it gives you a backup. If something happens over here, you've got that there that you can have for a rainy day. So it's brilliant, and this is what's happening, Tony, isn't it? In the modern, since COVID, everything's just moving so fast now,
yeah,
and the millennials and the Gen Ys and that are saying we're not waiting. We want the money now. We want to do this. We want to do that. They move at a fast pace. Things are not slow like they used to be. I got to go to the bank. So people are looking for more ways to have access to liquid funds.
Right.
So if you've got 4 things here and you've got your product over here, they've got 4 different ways that they can get access to money. So it just really complements what you're doing if you've got a portfolio, if you've got other things in place. So yeah, it's brilliant. And like, I hope people are listening, because I know it doesn't sound like the most sexy thing. It doesn't sound like, Tony is actually a rock star in this industry. He's like a rock star, and when he gets with his mates in this industry, it's sexy to them because they can see the dollar signs. So that's what you try and do when you sit down with clients, is you try and educate them on, it's not Ferraris and at the front of big houses like you see on YouTube, but what it is it's giving you compounding, um, growth of your money and access to liquid funds. So I think it's pretty rock star. I you're my new rock star, Tony, because it was
Yeah.
a great idea. And like I said, it's not everything, but it's a part of the bigger system. So no, that's brilliant. And I mean, so this isn't just for. I mean, this is for newbies. This is for experienced investors. Explain that. Like, an experienced investor can dump a heap of money in there straight away, and a newbie probably needs to start, and probably like a fruit tree or something like that. You got to water it, the seed, and explain
Yeah.
that, the different clients that you work with.
Oh yeah, 100%. So there's so as I was doing appointments, I noticed there was like you got your seasoned investor, and then you got somebody who's just starting out. They're starting out with wholesaling and so on. So at each level, it doesn't matter what level of experience you have in the industry, but you want to start from somewhere. So because I always get these questions asked, like, if I dump in money, can I have access to it tomorrow? No, it doesn't work like the bank. You gotta let it mature. So what I shared with Graham yesterday is I explained to my clients, it's almost like you're growing an orange tree. So you can either start from the seed level, or you can go purchase a tree. So when you're purchasing life insurance and you're just starting out, don't expect that you're gonna start picking fruit in the beginning. So you gotta let it mature. So you start from the seed level, let it grow. Take care of it. You gotta water it. Same thing with a policy. If you open a policy, you gotta keep adding premiums. You gotta put money into it, let it grow, let it mature, and then we got the seasoned investors. They've been doing it for a while. They have 100, 200, 300,000, $400,000 in the bank account, earning a 0.02% rate of return and no insurance attached to it. I explained to them this vehicle. They're like, you know what? I've been having this account for years. It's just been sitting there. I haven't really been doing anything with it. What can I do with it? So I would just take that money and dump it in a policy, in huge chunks, bigger chunks, kind of like purchasing a tree. If you have an orange tree that's ready to bear fruit, it's a little bit more expensive than the seed level, right? So the tree will get you closer to bearing fruit, so they can be able to borrow money from it. So they put that huge chunk of funds in a policy that's supposed to be there. These plans are designed to be overfunded, so they take these huge chunks of money. A lot of that chunk will already pay for cost of insurance, all the fees, loading fees, and all that stuff. So they don't have to worry about having to wait for it to mature and all that stuff to be paid out. They'll have access to their money pretty quickly earlier on, and a bigger bucket, of insurance to be able to even put more money into it. So, that's why I customize it, because people get mixed messages, because sometimes agents, so I come across agents that do not know how these products work. They're life licensed, they know how to, they can be in front of these audience. Funny story, I met a gentleman, wholesaler, and he got a quote for an insurance policy for $300 a month, right, for about $200,000-300,000 in coverage. After meeting with me, he ended up wanting to do a $2,000 a month, or actually a $24,000 annual premium policy with $1 million in coverage. So what's the difference between my policy and his policy, and the other agent's policy? That was just a pure coverage. he wasn't gonna be able to borrow money. He wasn't going to be able to borrow $10,000 for his real estate needs, right? But my policy does. It's not like his income changed, nothing
Yeah.
changed. It's just
Yeah.
I just sold him a different product. That
Yeah.
agent, his commission was also in terms of money, because there's a reason why I'm going into this niche. In terms of money, that agent was gonna probably make $2,000 commission, and my commission was gonna be $10,000.
Mm.
It's the same client, same income. So it's a completely different vehicle, um, and um, and it's gonna be able to help this real estate investor to even like keep keep a bigger policy, be able to put more money, be able to access more money, and he's gonna be able to do a lot more with it, as opposed to that policy was really designed for his coverage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If something happened to
So
him,
there wasn't those other benefits involved. You can't use those benefits in his policy. So yeah, the question I was thinking of when you were talking was the like you said before. If you got someone that's got they got the orange tree. They buy the orange tree with fruit on it, right? So they've already got a bit of money in it. They've got a portfolio of say real estate or some shares, and they think, well, the market looks like it's going to go down. I've got 50 properties. I might sell 5 or 10. And if they move that money across there, is that does that become tax free? Are they able to park that money over there, or is that a different scenario? Can they?
okay, so the term is called first in, first out. The money that you're putting in the policy should be after tax dollars.
Yep.
And
Okay.
and after tax dollars, when you put it, you're gonna make it up in terms of the interest and the compounding, because
Yep.
you're getting an interest on a bigger pile of money rather than a smaller pile of money. But that's actually a lot. So I'm in San Jose, California, Silicon Valley. An average home here in a really messed up neighborhood goes for $1 million.
Yeah.
What and that's why there's been an influx of people from California moving to these other states like Texas, Georgia, all the way to Florida, is
Yeah.
because they're selling their home here million five, and they're going to purchase a $300,000 home in a different state. So the difference, what we do is we take this difference and we put it in a policy. So by the time they're in their destination, they can now live off of the interest that difference is making them in a policy, which is tax
Yep.
free. They
Yep.
already paid taxes on it. They've made their money, and so as soon as they roll it over, um, put that money into a policy, then they can start living off of it and
Yeah.
pull it out tax free. So
Yeah.
that, yeah, so there is a benefit, because there's a lot of people who've been seasoned in the industry. They've done it for a really long time. They know the market. They have those connections and networks, and so they want to start liquidating their homes, because they're like, you know what, I don't want to have to deal with homes. We can always transfer that money into a policy, and depending on your age, we might have to do a different strategy. I don't know if I'm sure the audience have probably heard of fixed index annuities, which provides income for life. Sometimes we roll over that real estate money into a fixed index annuity, which provides income for life. And then so we take the 10% free and we have it fund their policies for life. So it's like an account that never runs out of money, which is kind of
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So that's another strategy. If anyone wants a free consultation, feel free. You can schedule a time. rei.familybankingdesign.com. rei.familybankingdesign.com. You can schedule a free consultation. I'll be happy to structure it with you and plan it out with you, because a lot of people don't have a person to go to, because it's like, hey, I just sell life insurance, but I don't know anything about your properties and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we can be able to like work together to your financial goals. So definitely.
And like you said before, Tony, you actually spent 2 years. You actually interviewed a lot of people too, didn't you? Got to know real estate investors, and you interviewed them and found out what they were looking for. Found out how you could through a policy like this, how you could do other things that benefit their business. So that's how you've structured all this, and that's why you've made it your niche. You've done a bit of homework over the 2 years,
Mhm.
like you said. You're in Facebook groups of real estate. You got to know the industry, whereas, like you said, someone from outside that's just dealing with the wider market. They don't know real estate. They don't know how wholesalers think. They don't know the pressure that fix and flippers are on. They don't know what it takes to do a rehab. They don't
Yeah.
understand how quick you got to move money. So you did all that research over pretty much a 2-year period, didn't you?
Yeah, so it's kind of like anything really. If you're going into any subject, you know, you want to like really do your due diligence and do your research, just because you want to, especially in business, you want to bring value. You know, it's like it's kind of like, why would I want to go with Tony as opposed to this other agent? You know, this other agent talks a good game, but Tony is a little bit more knowledgeable about what I'm doing, and he's helping me in my business. You know,
Yeah.
so that was a separator that I wanted for myself. Same thing with if somebody was going to an investments, they probably want to do their homework. Like, why is this home for sale? You know, what's up with the environment? Is it a nice environment? Is it profitable? Can I turn it into an Airbnb? Is this property going to cash flow?
Mm.
Once they find out their homework, then they can go in there and win, right? So
Mm.
same thing with me. You know, I was more curious because I've always you know, thought of, man, I would love to own a complex one day, you know, and it's gonna cash flow. And then I was like, you know what, my income comes really from successful clients. So if somebody's cash flowing pretty good and they're making pretty good money, and based on that homework, I can tell, you know what, this would be a great client because they're not going to cancel their policy. They're going to keep it. They're actually going to keep it long term, and it's going to work to their favor, because I've had clients cancel their policies because of financial situation, and they didn't know how these policies work. It's like they've some I've had clients who've had their policies for years, and because of financial situation, they canceled their policy when they could have just borrowed money from their own policy to help
Mm.
them with their financial situation.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like um, it's better to educate yourself, and I always kind of want to do that white glove service. Like we all appreciate that customer service, right? You know, on
Yeah.
top of me like investigating and meeting with all these investors. I've also built relationships in the home office of a lot of these companies. I know the presidents of these companies, and they're on top of it when it comes to my clients.
Yeah.
And I don't call the regular 1-800 number that the agents call. You know what I mean? I call the back end. You know, the presidents.
Yeah.
They're on top of it. So I invest a lot of time and money because I'm in this for the long haul. You know,
Yeah.
in this to help people retire.
Yeah, so you've networked really well. You thought, I'm in this for the it's a marathon or a sprint. I'm in this for the long term. So you've really got to know people and networked. Instead of being a fly by nighter, you've gone, I'm here for good, and I want to serve my customers. So you put the extra yards in. That's good, and that's what a lot of real estate people do. Is they put service first, and they're generally the successful ones. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, the other thing I was going to say too is you're growing rapidly. You're in so many other states now. Is that going to continue? Are you guys going to just keep continuing and pretty much end up in all 50 states? Do you think?
Yeah, yeah, that's the goal. Is you know, I'm currently building an agency, and what has worked. Also, a lot of my agents are also people in from the real estate industry. So what happens is, if you're doing a lot of transaction and you're seeing a lot of money, I can come in and help. You know what I mean? Like, for example, if a client or somebody you're working with just you know, got a big deal, and congratulations, he made a lot of money,
Mm.
then the investor, they can say, hey Tony, this gentleman, I just worked with him, we just did a great deal, it was successful, we made a bunch of money, can you help this client? And they refer them to me, and that, you know, that's another check for that person. So
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy how that works, because of, you know, the referral program. They do have to get licensed, because and I come across a lot of people in the real estate niche that are already are licensed, but are not familiar with this strategy. So I teach them about this strategy. They're already licensed in their previous work that they did, and they're like, "Man, this is super powerful because I will hold a license and I can make an extra 10, 20, $30,000 from just referring you somebody."
yeah,
Heck, yeah, I'll send you people. And so,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, that was going to be my next question. That was going to actually be my next question. Can real estate investors watching this that have got a bit of finance background, they might have worked in it over the years, and then they got into real, can they join up? Can they reach out to you and join and make it a part of their business as a because a lot of real estate investors have got someone that does short sales, someone that does is a realtor, someone that does sub two, someone, and they may just say maybe do wholesaling or buy and hold, and they refer things out to other people. Is this another avenue that they could have you as a part of their team, or they could become a part of your team?
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, with the different investors that I come across, some of them have their life license and they can be able to do this, and definitely, yeah, I've been talking to a lot of people who've been doing lending and different aspects in the real estate niche, and they can always be a part of the agency. I can do this in the United States, Canada, and Puerto Rico, and so they can refer some people, and I can
Yeah,
help them make some good income. And then also I tell them, because some of the deals, it takes like a couple of months for it to pay out. So in between months, as they're waiting, or they're piling more deals, they can also earn a really good check in between the time that they're waiting for the paperwork process of their next deal
yeah,
to go through. So
yeah,
it's a good, and it's residual income. So it's
yeah. Yeah, that's great. No, I think that's awesome. Probably this the last thing I'd ask is like we'll do a role play. Knock on your office. Hey Tony, it's Graham the investor. I've heard that you're doing some life insurance thing with all these other benefits that I can use in my real estate business. Can I come in and sit down and where would you generally start with that? You just do an interview process. You do a bit of a education thing. How does that usually work? With a consultation.
Yeah, with the consultation, I like to get to know the person first. I
Yeah,
like to know their background, their family, where they're from, and just because, like, in the beginning, when I was brand new, I used to do presentation. I used to do this elaborate, like,
yeah,
professional presentation, and nobody was getting plans. No one was
yeah,
signing up. So I switched my appointments are more like, I want to get to know the person heavy, and
yeah,
then, like, hey, can you help me structure this thing? And they already know that if somebody's referred to me, or I kind of introduce myself, as I introduce myself as the expert in their niche.
yeah,
So they're like, okay, here's my stuff, put it together for me. But my goal is, I want to know if the goal is to grow, if they want to scale up their businesses, I can work with them in terms of that.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
sometimes, they're in a certain income level in their business and they want to scale up. I want to know, okay, if I was to design a plan, I wanted to be able to, like, they can actually have it for like 4 or 5 years. If they outgrow it, we can always open a bigger policy in the future. So,
yeah,
and there's no limit to how many policies yet, unless the lawmakers change that.
yeah,
So if somebody outgrows a policy, let's say you max fund it, and you can't put money in there anymore, you can always open a bigger one, to help you scale up.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
mhm.
And another thing we spoke about yesterday is this is a good deal. This is a good thing because all the politicians do it, like trusts and that. They're all over. They've been doing this sort of stuff for years. They know these are the
Yeah.
loopholes. So that's what you're saying. Like it is. It's a very beneficial thing, and it's successful. It grows money. So it's another avenue, another vehicle for you to grow money. All right, well,
Mhm.
we've just about hit time. That was I mean that was unreal. Thank you for coming in and explaining that. Like I just want to go through your contact points because I think a lot of people want to reach out to you and do a consultation, just find out more about it because it's something that you just don't hear about. The old, like you said, the old 80s and 90s door to door, life insurance thing that's gone now. I mean, now you can do it virtually from state to state. You can talk to people like how we're talking. It's fast paced now, so
Right.
a lot of people will sort of see this and go, "Wow, I didn't even know that existed. How do I get on to Tony?" So I've actually put on your screen. First I've got your email address so people can shoot you an email at
Hmm.
tonyop@gmail.com. I put your Facebook thing there so people can send you a messenger message. A lot of people in the business do messenger messages now as a part of Facebook. They can obviously send you a friend request if they want to do business. more keen to sort of get to know you better. And then the last one was that website that you said before, the rei.familybankingdesign.com/. Now, guys, hit that, go in there, and there's a video that will basically just give you just a brief little overview of what Tony has spoken about today, but just in a really short video. So go back and just watch that and just go, oh yeah, that I understand that, I understand that. And then if you want to talk to Tony and say, all right, how do I get this to work for me in my business? Reach out to him. He's
Yeah.
he's part of the real estate investors world now. I mean, he's part of it. He doesn't, he's in a niche to serve us. So reach out to him, have a chat with him. No obligations, free. So Tony won't put any pressure on you. He'll just say, look, I'll give you advice, but it's your choice in the end. And anything else you'd like to sort of hit the audience with before we go, just to any either recap or just to finish off with, Tony?
Yeah. So I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to be able to share value. And that's what it's all about. And to be able to help the investors. You work hard to get all these deals and make sure you win big for your families. And so I just want to be able to be here and be a guiding light to be able to help.
Yeah.
Alleviate, legally not pay so much in taxes, right? So.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just want to be able to help and thank you for giving me this opportunity. And if anyone, if you have my information, feel free to reach out to me. I don't charge for consultations. I don't think it's right to take people's money.
Yeah.
This information is free. I do free consultations. I work with you. I work with in all kinds of situations. Make sure I talk to the underwriter friends of mine, and we try as much as possible to get you in there. I represent over 90 companies, so I can shop around. I'm an independent contractor, independent agent. I'm not tied to any company. I can be able to. Companies need to compete for our business, So I can shop around, find something. There's always something out there. So feel free. Even extreme cases, you'd be surprised. You can get up. We can find a company that will specifically cover your situation. Any kind of situation. I mean, like some people have had extreme cases, right? Cancer. Sometimes you can qualify for a policy. So don't think, oh, because I had this condition, I wouldn't be able to. It wouldn't hurt to try. So feel free to reach out. We can get you in there. And I'm here to help.
No worries. No, it's an absolute pleasure to have you, Tony. This is something like a real niche that you just don't hear about. So I love bringing different things on the show that can just help the real estate investor in any way, shape, or form. So no, I appreciate your time too, and you coming in. And like we were talking yesterday, we sort of had a bit of a good old chat. We're both, like I'm over in Australia. You immigrated. I mean, you've been in the States a long time, but we always like to remind our American friends that America's a great country. It's got it's a land of opportunity, and Tony will be the first one to say that. And I'm the same. Look, what you can do in the States in real estate, you can't do anywhere in the world. And I guess the old saying is "God bless America." It's still alive and thriving, and that's what you're saying is while you're out there trying to make money and everything, you can help people pay less tax and use that money to make more money. So good stuff. Yep. To all our American friends, thanks for signing in for the first episode. Join us again. Like I said, go and you can even go to the Thunder from, or it's actually Thunder from Down Under podcast.com. That's the official website. We're just ironing out a few things to launch into this year with it. So go there, go to the YouTube tab up on the top, hit the YouTube tab. It'll take you to the site. Hit subscribe, hit the bell icon so that, you can get informed, like for things you don't even know about, like what Tony's doing. You can get informed week in, week out. You get the notification, bang, you're live, bang, you're here with us. And we're going to bring you so many different people this year. The market's going to be really exciting this year for real estate investors. So get here and we will get you some big guests in. We'll get you people in the trenches like Tony that are out there trying to serve people. And people, who love this industry. It's a great industry. So good stuff. Thanks, Tony, for joining us for our launch in 2023. Thanks for all you viewers for joining us last year and now getting on board this year. Let's rock and roll. Get out there, get some deals done. Get to know people like Tony in the industry and network. And 2023 is going to be a big year. Everyone's going to rock and roll and move forward. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. Catch you later, Tony. Thanks, mate. Take it easy. And we'll see you next week, the same time, guys. Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Go and check out the website. There's a few things in there that are working at the moment. We've got a few things we've got to iron out, but go and check it out because it's going to get more and more. It's going to build this year. So you might even see Tony in there. Tony might do a little cameo in there in one of the, in the product marketplace or something like that. So go and check it out. All right, signing out from Australia, signing out from California. We'll see you next week.